Success Mantra. We shape future.
In the hospital.
बोलना स्टार्ट करो.
Success Mantra.
Okay. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. So, my name is Ankita Singh, and today I'm here with another amazing session with another amazing topper. And before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Ankita Singh, and I'm a teaching faculty with Success Mantra. So, in my previous video, I think I've given you many description about what Success Mantra is, what the reputation of Success Mantra is. So, abhi is video mein we are not going to discuss any such thing. Just know one thing, that Success Mantra has partnered along with Olive Board to bring the Clat preparation available to you all people at the comfort of your zone. So you can see the link in the description box. So go and click the link, go and check out the courses, and if you avail our courses now, then you can get the discount up to 50% on that. Further, we are having more news, more news during this session. So kindly be connected along with us. And yes, well, so today we are here with another topper, and his name is Utkarsh Panda. So yeah, Utkarsh. Hello, Utkarsh. How you doing?
Hi Ankita, I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm also doing good, bete. So yeah, so today's session, I think आप लोगों ने thumbnail देख लिया होगा और आप लोगों को thumbnail से चल गया होगा पता कि आज हम लोग क्या डिस्कस करने वाले हैं. So ये basically today's session is on, is self prep for Clat is good enough? क्या जो खुद से तैयारी आप लोग कर रहे हो, आप लोग अगर किसी का असिस्टेंस नहीं ले रहे हो, तो क्या वो बेनिफिशियल है या नहीं है? तो आज का सेशन हमारा इस पे है, एंड दिस सेशन में द गाइडेंस विल बी फ्रॉम उत्कर्ष पांडा. And yeah, and guys, there are many more sessions. There are many more sessions which is there on our channels, which will be helpful for you people, because I assume कि आप लोग में से बहुत सारे लोग अभी 12th boards में होंगे. So there are the sessions from different toppers. They have given their view on different topics, like how to manage your board along with the Clat preparation, then what mistake one should avoid in Clat, and then another one is life at NLU, just to inspire you that what kind of life will you get in NLU. That session is also there. And then what kind of time management one must follow during the Clat. तो ये जो हम लोगों ने different topics deal किए हैं, I am sure guys that ये आपके लिए बहुत helpful होगा. So go and watch our previous videos as well, and trust me, this session is going to be really amazing. So yeah, Utkarsh. Hello Utkarsh. First of all, Utkarsh, can you just give a brief intro about yourself to our audience? They are waiting.
Hi everyone. My name is Utkarsh Panda. I'm 19 years old. I come from the city of Bhubaneswar, Odisha. So I gave Clat 2021 and secured a rank of 53 in it. After which I joined NLU Bangalore, and I'm currently in my third trimester of the first year. And something else about me, I like playing the guitar. That is something I picked up during the lockdown. And apart from that, yeah, I'm glad to be here today.
Okay, congratulations Utkarsh on gaining such a good rank. Now Utkarsh, I'm having one question for you, and the question is basically for Clat 2023 batch students. You have to refer them, and the question to you is, what is your opinion, Utkarsh, on the structure of preparation when the aspirant is preparing on their own versus when they prepare by taking certain guidance from some institution? Can you pour some point on this?
So I believe that when one goes for self-prep, Clat is an exam which is, of course, dependent a lot on the skills you get during your preparation. For example, before I started preparing for Clat, I don't think my reasoning skills were at the level at which an average NLU graduate should be. I used to struggle a lot with logical reasoning questions. I used to struggle a lot with reading huge passages in a short period of time. And these are all skills that you develop on your own. I mean, of course, someone can come to you and tell you about how you should approach passages, how you should approach questions. But at the end of the day, these are thinking abilities that one needs to develop on their own. And for that, I think one needs some kind of a free space environment where one self learns these skills, where one is provided with the resources. But when one sits down with them and actually starts working on them, is actually when one can get these skills within oneself. So I believe that is something that is essentially indispensable without preparing on your own, without self preparation. So I believe when structuring self prep, particularly if one chooses not to go to coachings and rather prepare for CLAT purely with oneself, I believe it allows the greater freedom. It allows that environment where you can pick and choose what you're good at and what you're not good at, and then decide to work on things which you know that you should be working on. And at that moment, I think structuring it would require one to perhaps right at the start know exactly what your weaknesses and your strengths are. Like a level of self awareness is required so that you can tailor your preparation to what you think would be best for yourself. So I think if one structures one's self prep, one should right at the start attempt to gain to know at least what you're strong at and what you're weak at. So I think that is something that is essentially required to structure your self prep.
Okay. Utkarsh, we just had one question with you that is about your introduction and the clad pattern. And already we are very much filled with the questions over here. So I'll read not some, but all the queries and all the blessings and all the greetings they are giving you through the comment box. So there is one Avni Vijay. She's stating, "Hi, amazing topper." Okay. Then there is Mahira Alam, and she is stating, "Hello, Utkarsh sir, an honor to see you finally." Okay. Okay, Yamaira, I think that's an honor for everyone to see a topper. Then, okay, then Avni Vijay blessed today, then Myra Alam, then, "Sir, why is Nalsar better than NLS?" Bangalore, I think she's trying
Yeah.
mentioning. Yeah. So, okay, okay, fine. You can think of the answer. Meanwhile, I'm just narrating all the comments which I've got. Then the other one is that Utkarsh sir has always been inspired, and it's from Myra Alam. Then again, okay, fine. Oh, yeah, there is one Das Gupta, and she's asking, Utkarsh sir, how are you this inspiring? Oh my God, you're having too much fan following, Utkarsh. I can see from here only. Then again, Avni is asking, what are your hobbies, sir? Then yeah, sir, do you take any coaching classes? Yeah, these were all. I can see already a lot of fan following of you, Utkarsh. Thank-
Uh, hi, hi everyone. I wish you all the best for your class prep. Abhima, Hira, Das Gupta, all of you, all the best for your class prep. And for the question of why Nalsar is better than NLS, I will never go ahead and say that. But yeah, Nalsar is definitely in some aspects better than NLS because you get a sense of freedom in your schedule there. I think Shelly in her last video would have covered some of this when she talked about life at an NLU that NLS places a certain academic standard upon you for which you have to forego some of your, say, extra academic activities. For example, even mooting, even debating, even negos, all of that is something that you have to some extent trade off if you want to, live up to NLS's standards. And at the end of the day, again, that is something which you decide for yourself. If academic endeavors is something that you would like to place most of your time in, or whether it is something non-academic. So I think that is a choice which you make. Now, Nalsar and NLS are mostly indistinguishable when it comes to their quality of teaching and everything else. So,
Okay.
and yeah,
Okay, it's fine, Utkarsh. And now there's a see. I think this session we'll be mainly focusing upon the students who have to prepare for CLAT in 2023. So my third question to you, Utkarsh, is what are the basic checklist of the things to know if someone is self-preparing for CLAT 2023?
a checklist of things, right? I think
Yeah.
first of all, like I said, a level of self-awareness is very necessary. And then when I think that level of self-awareness is only built when you know with respect to CLAT what your strengths and your weaknesses are. So even if you decide to go for self-prep, I think right at the start it is important to understand where you stand. And to understand where you stand, I think mock tests are essentially something which are virtually which you cannot do without. So at the start, I think even at the start of the prep, when you haven't started preparing, I think sitting down with a mock test and understanding where you stand and what you have to work more in, what you have to devote more time to, I think that is something that is really very important. So if one is building a checklist, first of all, mocks is indispensable. Then again, when it comes to mocks, it is also important to secondly definitely analyze mocks because that is what will essentially tell you where you stand and what you need to work on. And I think after one understands what where one stands through mocks, I think what you also need is this is mostly personal, but yeah, a lot of my friends here who have done this. You, for example, during Clat prep, I think everyone who's prepared for Clat will agree with this that GK is by far the most boring portion that you have to prepare for. I mean, I have some of my friends who love GK, but mostly everyone hated preparing for GK. But what I realized right at the end of my prep is that GK could have been made much more interesting had I got some friends to prepare for Clat with. I did have some friends and we used to have a discussion group and we used to discuss with everyone who used to prepare for Clat with. So I was fortunate to have a few people to discuss Clat with, and I think that is something that essentially helped me, particularly for my GK section. So thirdly, if possible, find a few friends so you can prepare for Clat with who are as interested, as motivated as you. That is very important. But again, what you also need to know at the end of the day is that Clat is essentially an exam for which you have to tailor your preparation according to yourself. So if you're preparing a checklist of things to do, try to always remind yourself that you know yourself best, that you know what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are best. And at the end of the day, if someone else is doing something else and trying to tell you that that is the best thing, please try to put it. Please try to check if that is the best thing that your prep needs at that moment. That is not to say that people who have enough experience, you're not. That is not to say that you can disregard their experience. But yeah, just at the end of the day, just remember that you know yourself best, and you have a limited amount of time, so you have to choose what to devote that time to.
Okay. So, Utkarsh, you know what? I got one compliment for you, and the compliment says, "Sir, you sound very self-aware, and that's the great quality found in all the toppers." Okay. So, for this, you people see, whosoever wants to take guidance from Utkarsh, you will get the opportunity to take the guidance from Utkarsh. Please enroll yourself in the CLAT coaching classes or CLAT prep classes with Success Mantra, which is now partnered with Olivo to bring the CLAT preparation at the comfort of your zone. If you avail our courses now, you can go and check out our courses description in the which is there flashing in your screen. And if you go and avail our courses now, you can get the discount up to 50%. And again, no, this topper sounds to be very self-aware about himself. So if you enter his coupon code, then if you enter Utkarsh promos code, then you will get 5% extra discount on the prevailing courses. So go and enroll yourself now. Go and get the guidance of Utkarsh. If you enroll in our courses now by using Utkarsh promo code, then Utkarsh will be your mentor all through while your CLAT preparation course, which we are going to offer you. So yeah, go and avail this offer now, and quickly get in touch with this topper, and quickly try getting all the strategies this topper has applied to reach to such a good college, that is Bangalore NSG. So yeah, my next question to you is, being an aspirant, you also might have observed, or being, ki CLAT pattern is always very unpredictable. The last moment change is a very good, and I personally feel that it's the favorite part of CLAT consortium. Okay, so do you think, like, yes, so what is your take on this situation, and will self prep be enough to prepare oneself for such unseen scenario or circumstances which CLAT always gives, or which CLAT always surprises the aspirants with?
Yeah, it's funny you mention that. I have a friend who always says that the only predictable thing about CLAT is its unpredictability. So yeah, CLAT is definitely very unpredictable at the end of the day. Despite, for example, I prepared for 2 years, but at the end of the day, when I came to the test center and when I saw the paper, I realized there is a lot of things I could have done differently. I should have done differently. So yeah, CLAT is definitely very unpredictable. One has to be prepared for that. But again, if you're self-preparing, I think there's a twofold there's a twofold argument that can be made here. Firstly, I mean, you can definitely say that you will be that since you're self-preparing, you wouldn't take anything for granted. For example, a lot of the times, uh, your the coaching material that you're following might prepare you for a particular style of pattern. And at the end of the day, Clat pattern may not live up to that pattern because your coaching would have expected it to be somewhat different. If you're self-preparing, I think you somehow have the incentive to prepare for every possible pattern, not rely on something. But again, you have to realize that the people who are guiding you, they also might be people who have a lot of experience or 10 plus years of experience. So they must also be prepared. They could also be prepared for the unpredictability. So at the end of the day, there's a trade-off which you make. You either, if you self-prepare, you might have a better chance. You might have a chance of performing better than your peers. And a lot of the people who are in my batch right now, who have say got a top 10 rank or top 20 rank, a lot of them were people who have self-prepared. A lot of the people I know who have gotten extremely good ranks in CLAT are also people who have prepared for say 1 month or half a month and who have prepared mostly themselves. So it is to say that it's both. It's not a choice. It's not that if you self-prepare then you're going to be better. If you take coaching then you're better. But yeah, if you self-prepare, you cannot say that you can never be prepared for flat. You can definitely prepare for flat yourself. You can take a self-preparation course and prepare yourself.
Okay. ठीक है. So yeah, this I'm sure is very much Utkarsh. I can see a lot of fan following of yours over here in the chat box. I must say this. Okay, so there is one cannot wait to join his classes. Okay, okay. Can we have Utkarsh sir as a personal mentor? You can have Utkarsh sir as your personal mentor when you'll enroll yourself with our courses, and you will also get the additional discount of 5%. Okay, so go and quickly enroll yourself in our courses. Okay, so yeah, my next question to you is, how should one specially plan their preparation, especially without the expert guidance? Can you, Nikki, can you pour some light on the people who are self-preparing? So how can they prepare without the expert's guidance?
So, like I said, an expert's guidance for say if you're preparing for JE, for that kind of exam which is mostly predictable, an expert guidance is more essential. Because something like CLAT, I think you can rest assured a little because self-preparation for CLAT might also give you an advantage over people who go to coaching. So self-preparation for CLAT is definitely something that you can do. So first of all, be completely assured that you're not losing out on a lot, and it's okay for an exam like CLAT. It's very much possible if you are self-preparing though, I think one of the things that you need to keep in mind is that the people who are in coachings, they tend to have an added incentive to work harder because they're placed in competition right from the very beginning. They're placed in a classroom environment where they might get some advantage of an incentive to outperform their peers. So if you are preparing yourself, I think one thing you can do is just right off the bat pick a mock test series if you can. Pick a mock test series which gives you in-depth ranked analysis so you can gauge where you are with respect to your peers all over the country. You're going to get flat with you in 2023. It's 2022 right now. So if you start preparing from now on, even if you say are getting a 40 score out of a 150, even if you're getting that right now, understand that that will keep improving if you keep gauging your performance with respect to your peers. And if you perform, and you will get to know if what you're doing is working out or not. Because when you'd be regularly giving mocks and when you'd be analyzing them and knowing where you went wrong, if you do work on those aspects where you went wrong before your next mock, then your next mock score would definitely improve. And that is something that would guide your preparation itself. So people in coachings have, say, a dedicated counselor who can shape their preparation. What you can do as a self, what you can do if you're self-preparing is be that coach for yourself. Analyze your own mocks, understand where you went wrong, work on that, and if you are right, and if the method you're following this time is right, you will see an improvement in the next mock score. So if you pick a mock test series, I think it helps to shape your preparation. It tells you whether you're preparing in a manner that is conducive for CLAT or not. So yeah, I think that's one thing you need to keep in mind that if you don't have expert guidance, this is something you need to do. Apart from that, I think one thing which it comes up from the competition aspect only. Keeping yourself, like having those dedicated working hours for yourself when you don't have someone standing over your head and telling you to prepare, I think that is tough. For example, personally for me, I find it a little tough to work if I don't have a physical person or someone who's constantly reminding me to work. So even if you're self-preparing, please remember that it doesn't have to be just yourself. You can include your parents, you can include your friends, you can include your family members in your preparation as well. For example, when I used to prepare, my mom used to always come ahead and see if, she always used to attend all parents' teachers meetings and see to it that my preparation was going well. She used to always ask me how my mock scores were coming along and if I had any problem. My dad used to always tell me if I have any problems and all of that. So I think if you can get your friends, your family members invested in your preparation, they would definitely help you keep your preparation, they would definitely help you keep working hard. So if you're self-preparing, that is one thing you remember. Just remember that you're not alone. This self-preparation doesn't mean that you're alone.
Okay. See, I am seeing more of the appreciative comment when it comes to you. Trust me, this is a very unique session I'm taking along with a topper. Okay. There is one, Avni Vijayan, she's stating, Sir is next to Sandeep Maheshwari. Okay. And there is one serious question being asked that she is Bhavya Alawat, and she's asking ki she's very much she's very much scared with the GK section. So how to prepare for GK section?
Okay, for the GK section, I
Yeah.
think that one thing you could do if you're preparing for GK, first of all, like I said, if you have friends who you can discuss GK with, then definitely go ahead, talk to them about GK. And if you have, say, for example, this a topic which I particularly find a lot of people have hated over the years, which is just learning facts and figures from, say, the union budget or the economic survey and all of that. I think if you're doing that, then I think just having someone sit with you and just learning all the statistics with you, that can be a fun activity that helps you prepare for GK for some very important topics of GK and also makes the preparation less monotonous. So I think that is something if you have the capacity, if you have someone who's with you who can do that, just take that help. Apart from that, I think GK is something that you definitely need. Okay, this is particularly topical information. If you're preparing for GK, I think one thing which I've observed a lot of people do and has worked out for them is just is just don't limit yourself to Clat prep. I think what you can do if you're preparing for a GK is just rely on as many sources as you can, but also remember that you're not supposed to just uh, go through half of those sources and then just let it go in the middle. I think what you need to do is when you're picking sources, you need to be very selective about the sources you pick because there is only so much time you can devote to GK and there is so much information out there. So pick your sources, pick them well, and complete them thoroughly. And I think one thing that helped me particularly during crash prep was just going through IS websites. I think that is something that can help you shape your preparation well because it gives you facts that normally you won't get through say newspapers. So I think go if you have a topic which you think is very important for class, going through UPSC websites, going through websites which prepare for railways, for bank exams. I think those are websites that you can go through for a more rounded prep, for a more secure GK prep.
Okay. So I hope you got your answer. Now, my next question to you, Utkarsh, is that, I'm sure many of the students who might be there along with in the audience sector might be into the self-preparation zone. Okay. So what happens when you're self-preparing is that, there are demotivating moments a lot rather than motivating moments when it comes to self-study because there is no proper guidance. So can you just pour out some word to motivate those your people and how they can keep themselves motivated when they are into self preparation?
First of all, I'd like to flag this out at the start. If you're self-preparing, also you have this added advantage that you're not likely to be demotivated because of external reasons. For example, I had a lot of people who were in my coaching class who used to score better than me. So at least for a while, I used to be very demotivated when I used to see that despite whatever I did, I couldn't reach to an extent where I could score say a 110, a 120 regularly, and those are people who could do that. So I think when you're self-preparing, just remember that people who are in coachings might be even more demotivated than you. So just don't be sad about the fact that you're not in a coaching. Again, things to motivate yourself with. So when I used to prepare for CLAT, it was time of quarantine, so I didn't have a lot of physical teachers or physical mentors or just even virtual mentors I could go to. So one thing I regularly did was I had uh, and I always wanted to come to Endless itself. So a lot of people in my batch, now that they've come here, they talk to me about how they used to have huge posters of Endless in their bedroom, and that used to help them tell that even when they had, say, a 45 score in a mock, when they would look at that poster, they would realize what they were doing it for, and what they gave that mock for was to eventually get to NLS. So eventually, that is something that gives you an added incentive. Just know why you're doing law for, know what you're giving flat for. It's not just to do NLS, it's for whatever your goal is. If your goal is to come into a particular law school, then keep reminding me that why that law school is something that you would like to see yourself in. If your incentive for doing law is becoming a lawyer, joining Ketan, becoming an environmental lawyer, or say a stepstone to UPSC, just keep reminding yourself of that eventual goal for which you pick class, for which you pick law. Other than that, some normal advice would be just go through YouTube videos, Sandeep Maheshwari. If that is your cup of tea, go for Sandeep Maheshwari. If you want to just watch other people. For example, when I used to prepare for CLAT, I used to watch Soumya Singh's interviews a lot. Soumya Singh was this guy from CLAT 2019 who got both a CLAT Air 1 and an AILET Air 1. And there were a lot of his videos on the internet, and I particularly found him very inspirational. So I used to watch a lot of videos of him. And then again, at the end of the day, if you find nothing else, just Google median salary of a lawyer and motivate yourself. Yeah.
Okay, very nice. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So there is one question which is actually a very basic question asked by many of the aspirants, that is coaching guidance required enough? Is there any importance to get the guidance from coaching? So can you just put your words on this?
Yes. So first of all, like I said, when you're in a coaching environment, what it essentially does is you're in an environment where there are, say, if there are 50 students in your class, there are 50 people who've chosen to give class, 50 people who are giving, assuming all of them are serious, which is obviously not true. Assuming 20 of them are serious, at least 20 of them are giving class regularly. So what you get is that you get a sense of competition, you get a sense of understanding about where you're standing. So that is something you get from competition. You understand where you are with respect to your peers who are going to give class with you. So you understand whether you need to step up your game, whether you need to how hard you need to prepare, whether you need any changes in your schedule, in your strategy. Again, what competition also gives you is it gives you an incentive to prepare. It is very, I don't know if it is healthy or not, but if it is in an environment where there is a lot of competition, you do get an incentive to outperform your peers. And so that helps you work harder. Again, caveat, just don't make it very unhealthy. Uh, Pay attention to your mental health. Don't just go through with competition if you think that that is bad for your mental health. Again, the competition is definitely something that is good about coaching classes. Again, what coaching classes also give you is they give you expert guidance. For example, the people who started your coaching class, they must be people who have engaged in this profession for a long time, who've seen class papers starting 2008 and individual law exam papers before that. So these are people who have been in the game for a long time. Even if CLAT is unpredictable, at the end of the day, they might also be better prepared for the unpredictability. They might tell you the different styles of preparation you should undertake in order to have a more rounded prep that would, say, be immune to any changes on the last day. So those are people who can help you with that. Again, these are also people who, if your coaching has personal guidance, which is something you should definitely be looking for when you're going for a coaching class. If your coaching class is personal guidance, then it helps you to get those people who've prepared for class, who've seen class papers for years and years, and they can help you tailor your preparation in a way that is best suited for a good rank. These are people who have had 1,000 plus students over the years. They have seen various types of students, so they have a general idea of how to help each individual student. So if you join a coaching institution and if you have personal guidance there, definitely avail it, because that is something that can help you shape your preparation in a manner might that in a manner that you might not be able to do alone. That is not to say you can't do it alone, but yeah, coaching helps you probably get some ideas that you might not have gotten on your own. So yeah, expert guidance and coaching definitely helps those two things. Again, uh, uh, in uh, what also helps in coaching classes is the fact that they usually have a series of mocks along with them. So if you're self-preparing, also you can get a series of mocks. But in coaching classes, what I have usually observed is that when you have a set of people in your coaching class and you get a set of friends there, you get a set of people who are very serious about class. You don't have to go and find them. You already have them around you. You can discuss your mock questions themselves. So, like I said, expert guidance is something they can get through class, get you can get through coaches, but what you also get through coaching is an access to amazingly brilliant students who perhaps say might be better than you in certain aspects. For example, I have had friends who've been better at say logical reasoning, and they've told me how they have solved questions in a way in which I did not think of when I was doing it on my own. So if you're doing Clat with in a coaching class, you get access to those kind of resources, which you also should access should you choose to, which should you choose to access, will give you a better, will give you access to better ways to solve questions, which is obviously beneficial. That those are
Yeah.
something with coaching.
Exactly. This is just for the audience only, that what I've observed since I'm interviewing all the toppers since last 4 sessions, I've observed that all the toppers are putting their main focus upon the mocks. So it is for the audience, it is for the aspirants, it is for the CLAT aspirants appearing this time in 2022 or for 2023, that appear for as much as mocks as you can, because your mocks will be the ultimate help for you. Right, Utkarsh, if I'm not wrong?
That is very true. Honestly, even if you're self-preparing, I don't think anyone
Hmm.
who is in my batch right now
Hmm.
has prepared for has done has I don't think there's anyone here who hasn't given a mock. People here have given 50, 60. But yeah, they've tough standard to compare to. There is no one who's not given a single mock. You definitely need to give mocks. Mocks are the standard for which you prepare at the end of the day. Even if you're self-preparing, mocks are indispensable. Cannot stress this enough.
Hmm. Okay. So my next question to you is related to mock only. That how to analyze mock on your own during self preparation.
Right. Analyzing mocks. I think this even is a question that people who are in coaching classes can answer, can get some perspective from, because analysis of mocks is something which, even if you're in a coaching class, is an individual activity at the end of the day, because you have to sit with each of the questions and see what you got wrong and why it was wrong. And even if you've gotten a major chunk of the questions correct, you also have to go through the rationale for the answers in those questions, because you have to see if there's a different way to solve the question, if there's a better way to solve the question. So at the end of the day, going through each individual question is something that you have to do on your own. At the end of the day, that is an aspect which is common for both coaching and self-preparation. For students who are self-preparing and students who are in coaching classes. So right, so my strategy during mock prep was that I used to first go through all my questions of logic, of the logical sections and the legal section, because those were two of the sections which I thought I needed the most amount of prep in. Those are the two sections I was the weakest in. So when I used to give a mock paper and when I used to come back and when the results would come out, I would go through those sections right at the start. First of all, I would go through all the questions that I had gotten wrong there, and I would check the answers that were given in that mock paper, and I would try to reason it out to myself. So I would try to reason it out to myself. If I did not get an answer right, this is a note for everyone. If you do not get an answer right, please never let it go. Because at the end of the day, class can be a matter of 1 or 2 marks. So if you're not getting an answer right, if you're not getting a concept right, that can be a difference between whether you do qualify for class or whether you do not. And if you do qualify, what college you get. So at the end of the day, please remember that you should not ignore any question. Even if you think that an answer to a particular question is wrong, please get that confirmed from somewhere. Please get that confirmed from some of your friends who are giving class or from your faculty. Please get that confirmed. So yeah, if you're getting something wrong, please try to spend as much time as you can rationalizing that answer to yourself, understanding why you got it wrong. And then what I used to do is I used to maintain a diary. So I've observed what logical questions had was that every question had a basic inherent concept that if you got, then you could do a lot of questions of that concept. For example, I was particularly weak in finding out assumptions because I wasn't getting the concept that assumptions were something which were necessarily true but not stated. That is the concept that was being explicitly stated by a lot of people, but I wasn't able to understand that myself. After I gave a lot of more questions, after I understood what I needed to look for in an assumption question, is something that I probably wouldn't have got had I not given enough marks. So I used to maintain a diary in which each time I could reason something out to myself, some point of logic, some point of maths, some point of even legal, I would note that down and I would keep reading the diary again and again so that my prep would be better every day. So yeah, that is something that I used to do with respect to the logic section, which extends to English, logic, and legal. For GK particularly, yes, if you got something right, it's okay. No need to look at that in an analysis. If you got something wrong, then definitely keep a notebook where you make a note of it because mocks are a, a good source of GK preparation. Then again, for maths, I think, yeah, for maths, if you got something wrong in maths, I think, yeah, you should definitely look at what the right answer to it was. But yeah, even if you got something right, always just glance through the answers to see if there's a faster way of doing what you did. Because maths is something you can inherently save your time in. So just keep an eye out for that if there's a faster way in maths. That is how I used to analyze in mocks, and I think that is something that I thought was the best strategy for me.
Okay, this is really nice. Now, my next question to you is that can you like do you have any specific book or study material available which is there available in the market? Do you want to recommend to the aspirants or to the students?
So some book or study material. So I did not refer to a lot of material on Clat because when I was giving Clat in 2021, yeah, in 2021, so at that time, this was just the second year after Clat's pattern change. So there was not a lot of material available on the market before that. So it was a problem in that aspect, as in there was not a lot of material available then. But then again, I used to refer to R.S. Agarwal's R.S. Agarwal's both quantitative aptitude and his book on logical reasoning, because those were so. First of all, the book about logical reasoning, I believe, gave you a lot of conceptual clarity on what some terms that were being used in logical questions in class were. For example, what assumptions meant, what inferences meant, what conclusions meant. All of those are something that you could get to that book. Even though it was not particularly tailored for class, it did help get some concepts cleared up. R.S. Agarwal's book on quantitative aptitude, although it asks questions of a level that is, say, higher than what CLAT would expect you to know, it is still, I think, a good book for preparation because you can never go wrong with over preparing. So if you have done tougher maths questions, you're prepared for a CLAT which might be unpredictable and might have tougher maths questions. And if the CLAT paper is, say, easy, it's good for you because you prepare tougher questions, you're going to solve the easy questions in lesser time. So R.S. Agarwal's two books is something I particularly refer to. Apart from that, I think CLAT material isn't, I would suggest if someone is preparing for CLAT for all the three logic sections, I think reading fast is, of course, key to that. I think editorials and reading the newspapers is the best resource available out there. Just go try to sit with an editorial from, say, the Hindu, take that big editorial and just sit down and try reading it as fast as you can. Make a note of the time you read it in, and then the next day try to decrease that time. So in that way, you understand if your reading ability is improving or not. Read novels, please read novels, please read all kinds of articles that you find out there because CLAT में the paragraphs they give you are of, say, economics, are of, say, biology, are of, say, uh, physics, and all those are things which might not seem interesting to you, but you have to read and understand the passage in the time assigned to you. So if
Right.
you start reading passages that might not seem interesting to you, but if you force yourself to read those, I think you can improve your improve your paragraph reading ability a lot, which would definitely help in that.
Okay. Utkarsh, the next question for you is from the audience, and the audience wants to know that do you used to discuss your mock with anybody, and was that fruitful for you, that if you discuss your mock with some of your friends or your batchmates, so was that thing helpful for you?
Right. So, okay. So, personally speaking, I did share my mock. So, like I said, there were some times I could not rationalize the answers that mocks had, and then I used to talk to my friends. So I had, so yeah, I used to talk to my friends who I believed were, you know, whose judgment I trusted, and we would deliberate on that question together, and then all of us would try to make each other understand what the answer was. If none of us could get it, we did refer it to faculty, and it helped all of us. Again, yes, I would say that it was very helpful for me because logic was something I was inherently not that good in. So since I did that for logic, since I discussed a lot of my mock questions with my friends who were very good at logic, very good at reading, very good at understanding, it definitely benefited my prep at the end because yeah, in the last 1 month where I would discuss my mocks regularly, I think my logic improved the most in that 1 month period. So yeah, I would definitely say if you have friends whose preparation and whose judgment you trust, definitely go ahead and talk to them about your mocks.
Yeah. Okay. So I hope that the audience got their answer in this respect, in the respect of this question. So yeah, my next question to you is regarding the time management, because you know the management is a very essential part of the preparation and in the examination hall, right? So like where and how did you like start with your time management scene, and what was your time management skill? I know it differs from aspirant to aspirant and the students to students, but you know it's better to take the advice from the topper in respect of the time management. So please just put your words on this.
So time management for me was something that I tried that so what I understood when I was preparing for Clat myself was that I cannot concentrate for long stretches at once. So, for example, if I would sit down at 10 a.m. with with say 15 passages that I would have to solve, I would get bored by 10:30. I couldn't go for long without I couldn't go for long stretches without a break. So, how I focused on my class prep was I would start with respect to time management, start I would start giving myself breaks in the middle so I would be more productive with the time I spend. So for example, if I was spending say even 3 hours in a day, I would ensure that all three of them are productive. I wouldn't go ahead and sit for 6 hours, out of which say 3 hours were just me procrastinating. So I would ensure that whatever time I spent would be productive, regardless of whether that time would be lesser. I know a lot of toppers, a lot of people who performed extremely well do say that they have prepared for 6 hours and prepared for 7 hours. And believe me, when I was preparing, that was very intimidating for me too. Just knowing that people can sit for 12 hours and work at the same time, but I realized that that is something that I couldn't do. I could prepare for say just 2 hours, 3 hours a day, but I would ensure that I spend the time productively. So first of all, if people are saying that they're spending a longer amount of time, don't be scared by that. Just try to ensure that whatever time you're spending is productive. Then again, for time management, what I did was, this is a little particular to a subject, but for GK, what I used to do was I used to see that the sources I used were limited. So for GK is not something that is limited to Clat, right? Mostly every competitive exam has a GK section. So the amount of material out there on the internet is immense. So I would get anxiety just looking at the amount of material that I had in front of me. So I spent a lot of my time during my initial days of prep just being confused about what to refer. And if I was referring to something, I wouldn't refer to it completely. I would say for example, one day I was using material A, the next day I would see material B and think that looks fancier, so I would go to material B. That is something that did not help me at first and wasted a lot of my time. So I would suggest don't do that. Pick a material and just don't look at other materials until you finish that material. You have 1 year worth of time, so even if that material wasn't the best, you still have time to shift to some other material, so don't be scared of that. With regard to time management, for different for example, with regard to time management with respect to sections in the mock particularly, because that is also an aspect of time management. I think what you need to remember is, I think a lot of people must have given this advice. Not every question in class needs to be answered. Not every passage needs to be read, and not every answer of yours needs to be correct. So, for example, even if you say are confused in a question between two options, don't spend a lot of time just ensuring your accuracy is right there. Just tick one and move on. Don't be very particular. Don't be very anxious about the fact that you might get a question wrong. Pay attention to the fact that there are 150 questions, and the qualifying score for you to get into the top three NLUs would be, say, around 85 to 90, which is just about 60% of the score there. So even if you don't attempt 40% of the paper, just know that you still have a good chance of getting a top three NLU. So don't pay attention to every question on that paper. Again, with regards to sections, what I used to do for myself was that I would give myself particular time limits. For example, for legal, I used to have 25 to 30. For logical, I used to have around the same time. English around the same time. For GK, I used to have around 10 minutes, 15 at max, because that is a question which you can easily skip to. And for maths, I used to have 10 minutes because that is also a question where you can save a lot of time. So just have those limits for yourself based on what works best for you. Like ma'am said, what works best for you in this situation is something that you should go ahead with. Something which I used to do particularly, which I would like to share, was that when I would be giving the mocks, I would realize that see, English, logical, and legal are all three sections जो मुझे एकदम same दिखता था, which I would be very bored when doing. For example, if I would be doing passages, मुझे बहुत boring लगता था after a while, just doing legal passages and then doing logic, then doing English. So what I think was helpful for me, which I did, was I would solve the logic section, then I would go and do a maths ka caselet. That would refresh me before doing the, say, English section, because it requires very different set of skills. So that is something that refreshed me and saved me a lot of time, I think, because I wouldn't spend a lot of time being bored, being feeling weak and stuff. So I think if that works for you, that is also such a strategy that you can use for time management and marks.
Okay. So yeah, this was see. So my next question is basically for the aspirants who are going to appear in CLAT 2022. And since you know that this year CLAT again has shocked our aspirant by putting their CLAT exam just 2 days after the completion of their board examinations. So can you just give them certain tips that how to manage, though they know how to manage, but still no, the word of the topper will be very much helpful for them. So can you just state them ki how can they manage their 12th board along with their CLAT preparation without lagging in both of the examinations?
Firstly, I'm so sorry for all of you who have to give CLAT along with both. I, for one, had my entire batch had our board cancelled, so we entirely had the time for CLAT. So my condolences to you. But yeah, again, I think if you are preparing for CLAT with boards, which was the strategy even I went with when I was preparing at first, I think what I would, what my strategy was at that moment, this never obviously played out, but what my strategy was that I had always thought that when I would be given board, I would not leave flat completely, because what I observed was during my prep is that I would say give a mock on Thursday, and if I wouldn't give a mock for 5 days, then the next time I would give a mock on, say, the next week or Wednesday, I would be completely lost. I would have lost all my momentum. I would have lost all the things that I learned from my past mocks, and I would have lost all of that. So if you are giving CLAT, so board exams में होता है ना कि there's a gap of, say, 2 3 days or a week between exams. If you can, during those days, if you've prepared well for your upcoming board exam, the next exam, just take one day and just give a mock in that. अगर time होता है, just give a mock in that. Even if you don't have time to analyze it, just give a mock, just so that you don't lose that momentum. Because see, अगर वो एक महीना में you won't give a mock, you will be back a few steps from where you started. So अगर time होता है in that 1 month also, if you have a few extra days of preparation than what you need, just give a mock. Again, if you have some extra time, just revise GK a little. Don't forget all the facts because then you'd have a heavy task for those 2 days. Even when we were giving boards and the batches before us had 1 month before Clat at least. Since you have this 2 days, I think it becomes all the more important for you to keep giving mocks during that 1 month period, which is something I think all of you must have realized by now. But also don't forget GK, keep revising GK. अगर भी time कम है, अगर भी 15 minute है, so just go through your notes and just glance through them once so you have a photographic idea of your notes at least. Don't forget all of them.
Okay. So yeah, this was all for today's session, Utkarsh. Thank you so very much. But before leaving, can you just give a final word of motivation to all our listeners who are going to appear in Clat 23 and whose Clat is just a month and a 2 days. Just from today, it's just a month and 2 days. Just that much is the journey. So please motivate our listeners with your motivational word. As you know, as I can see that you are Sandeep Maheshwari, so please inspire them all as Sandeep Maheshwari. Yeah, go.
Right, I am no Sandeep Maheshwari, but what I will say to you is just keep believing in yourself. If you have prepared for CLAT for a long time, just know that you've given all that effort to yourself, and all of that is not for nothing. Don't forget that you've spent a long amount of your last 2 years when perhaps your peers were out partying, perhaps your peers were out hanging out with each other. You spent all that time working on CLAT, you spent all that time giving a mock, and all of that will pan out in the end. Again, if you started preparing for CLAT relatively later, also realize that there are a lot of my friends, not, yeah, there are a lot of my friends and some of my very close friends who have just prepared for CLAT for just say a month or even a month and a half, and they have still gotten into amazing NLUs. They've gotten into top three NLUs. So always remember that your amount of time does not define your prep. If you prepare for a small time, keep reminding yourself that there are a lot of people who spent lesser time than you and still gotten into those energies which you want to get to. So your amount of time should never be something that should be demotivating you. Uh, so yeah, please keep reminding yourself that you are prepared. At the end of the day, even if you go to the exam hall and see the class pattern is very unpredictable, it is very weird, it is very different. Also remember that it is different for everyone, and because you have prepared, you stand a better chance of getting a higher score in that different paper than someone who hasn't prepared as strongly as you have. So always pay attention to those facts. All the best. You're going to do amazing. I hope to see a lot of you next year. Thank you.
I think today's session after today's session interview, you will. I think the great chunk is going to come to your college as a junior, and you are really going to enjoy. And through this session, through the comment box, I've seen that there are many fan following of Utkarsh Panda. So yeah. To get the mentorship from Utkarsh Panda, please Utkarsh promo code and go and where you can apply this promo code. You have to go to the chat box में आपको एक link description box में आ रहा होगा. Go and click on that link, go and explore our courses, go and see what advantages you are getting. It's like at least open the link. एक बार link तो खोलो, देखो तो कि काम का है या नहीं है. अगर काम का लगे, go and enroll yourself. Put the promo code of Utkarsh if you want Utkarsh to be your mentor, and then from that you can take guidance from Utkarsh and you can ace your CLAT examination along with Utkarsh and with us, and we are there to fully support you. So this was all for today. Thank you everyone for joining, and trust me Utkarsh, this was an exceptionally nice session I had along with you by seeing the kind of fan following you're having. So it was really nice meeting you, Utkarsh. Thank you so very much to be on our channel, and all the best for your future. Thanks.
Thank you, man. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay.